All right. Hey, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Shenzo Plays. Today we're continuing Mario Odyssey. We are near the tail end of the subathon, or are we? Because every time we get under an hour, another hour gets added. So we are going to be playing Mario Odyssey for about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour, and then we'll be switching over to Paper Mario. You'll probably see that in a separate video. But thank you guys very much for watching. You guys know the drill. We're going to be continuing with Mario Odyssey. We just wrapped up, for those that don't know, on Metro City, aka New Donk City. So we'll be moving on to the next kingdom after that, and continuing to see how far we can get in this game today. But you guys know the drill. If you do enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my content. And of course, hit that alarm bell and follow me on all my social media if you want to get notified whenever I'm doing something new. Thanks very much for watching, YouTube. I love you, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, YouTube, welcome back. Our objective is to go to the next kingdom. We just got all the power moons we needed from the Metro Kingdom, aka New Donk City, and where we ended last time was we had done the festival. There's still a lot more to do in New Donk City, but I'm not trying to 100% at this run. I'm just trying to beat the game. So here we go. We'll be playing probably for about 40 minutes or so, give or take. So that number's not accurate, silly. It'll update here in a couple minutes. Twitch has a very weird system for how they update their sub points. I'm seeing on the back end, 255. So you've already got it. Alright, the Snow Kingdom or the Seaside Kingdom? I don't think I've actually done either of these kingdoms. I think I stopped at Metro Kingdom, so we'll go to the Snow Kingdom. Yeah, no, you're good, Silly, you're good. I think we got it. It should update here, and I have it set to update every 5 minutes, because, well, when I still had a job, my job was all about, you know, connecting systems and stuff like that, and programming for them. So, I have a little bit of experience, one would say. I know how this stuff works. So I have it checked every 5 minutes to update. So you should see the sub points update. But I assure you, on the back end, I am seeing 255. Thanks, silly. Well, like I said, it was my job for a long time. You know, I had 10 years in that field. And I don't know if I'm going to continue in that field, if I'm going to be honest with the way things have been. But, yep, 255 is what I see on the back end. I can verify that as well. And just get a quick refresh here. And, yep, I see that over here. Alright, let's not dilly-dally. It's cold as ice, willing to sacrifice your love. But yeah, it'll probably update in a couple minutes. Good looking out, though. Hey, Jesse, how you doing? Hi, Gridley, welcome. Yep, we're still going. Still going. Every time we think we get close, someone comes in and goes ham. And I'm very grateful for it. We also had a new person come in, Tiny Moon. Yeah, Jesse, I'm hanging in there. I'm going to be honest. I've talked about this already, so it's not a huge, you know, it's not like a huge revelation, but the job hunt is definitely, oh gosh, I fell in a hole. The job hunt's definitely eating away at me, for sure. Hey, we found Shaviria Town. All just a little on edge. But, you know, I did get, not some great news, but better news than I've had in the past. Where I am at least in line for a potential job. Yeah. Really, it's tough, man. You know, it's... I think in my case, that I'll tell you guys directly, the main reason why I'm so, like, discouraged by it is because I can't get an interview. Like, you know, it would be one thing if I got an interview and didn't get picked for the job. It's like, all right, they clearly had someone better, but like, yeah. That monster stole our racing prize, the frosted cake. If that weren't bad enough, he blocked the entry to our race course. We need power moons to get back in. But yeah, that's kind of my big thing right now. Is just like I just want to get an interview. If I could get even a single interview, even if it's a phone call, I think I would do a lot better. Had some traction early, but it got drier and drier since. Yeah, it's tough right now. The job market is a mess. Thank you, Silver. I appreciate it. I'll just say this, like, I got news today. And for those that don't know, one of the areas I've been looking into is going back into the financial world, because that's where I was before. And I got news today that all these different financial institutions are investing into AI. And they're super late on the draw. But yeah, they're looking into like AI, and their whole reasoning is they don't want to spend money on they don't want to spend any money. And we talked about this a lot, and I don't want to like get on my preacher here, but I do feel I gotta call it for what it is, and that's they're not gonna save any money. The cost of getting those systems up and running and then maintaining them is gonna be more expensive than if they just hired somebody to do the job. But I don't want to be mean, but I just got to tell you that the current crop of business leaders, as a whole, not all of them, but the current crop of them they shouldn't be in their positions. Want their cake and eat it too? No way. And then get mad when the cake is the most expensive they've had. Yep. So I'll share some stories here. And you guys know I don't normally like to be negative about anyone I've worked for in the past. But I have to tell you guys this. I just got news today about my old credit union. And it's a shame, and I want to preface this by saying I really, really like a lot of the people that still work there. Alright? I have friends that still work there. But I just got news today that they can't keep anybody. The last 3 people they've tried to replace, they have lost within the first, like, month. They can't keep anybody there for more than 30 days. And the credit union's response to that was, let's end hybrid work. The problem is clearly the problem is clearly hybrid work. I wish I was kidding. I honestly wish I was kidding, but that is how they are thinking. And it's just I don't know what to say to that, because the reason they lost the reason that they lost the three of us was because they ended remote work. And we all told them that in our exit interviews. And when I say the 3 of us, I mean the 3 people that they're trying to replace now, that they can't. But that's that's the current generation of business leaders right now, at least in the financial area. And I wish that was unique, but it's not. And I point towards, you know, I point towards what's happening, like I said, with the news I got today from the recruiter, that the only jobs anyone is hiring for is people who are willing to sell their soul to AI. And as any of you guys know, my opinions on AI, we've talked about it a lot. I think it's an incredibly flawed, extremely expensive route to go in that won't even work properly 90% of the time. And it's so wild to me, because it's like, a lot of these same people, like Ridley said, they think they can have their cake and eat it too, and it's like they don't even understand the technology. And that's the craziest thing to me about it, is that they don't even understand what the technology is. They just hear, oh, it can automate. And it's like, man, you need to understand, at the very least, if you're going to make that decision, at least understand how your technology works. But I sent a message to my former coworkers today, you know, the other two I mentioned out of the three. I sent a message to them today, and I said, you know, I just got news that this is what, you know, they're doing. What makes you think the chief marketing officer, you know, like, how much do you want to bet that the chief marketing officer is pitching that right now in an executive meeting? And they both laugh. Both of my former coworkers laugh, because they know that's exactly what that chief marketing officer is doing. Is he's seeing that every other financial institution is investing in this technology, and he's going to push it without knowing what it is. Because that's just the type of person that this individual is. What in the nightmare are those? I don't know. I don't know what they're called. Oh, hey, look, it's these guys again. Yeah, we got the frosted cake. The boss man sure is fussy about cake. I reckon we got on the best one, though. Oh, I get to beat up this guy again, huh? Alright. Those bunnies are not cute? Nope. They most certainly are not. Thanks for giving me a way to beat you, idiot. Alright, there's another power moon. But yeah, that's kind of the current state of the job market right now, at least in the tech field, is that a bunch of people who are not tech people are planning on spending a lot of money on a product that they think is going to save them a lot of money, but will not save them a lot of money. Which, that definitely seems to be the current Achilles heel of a lot of business owners and current business generation at the moment. Ow. They're all chasing the next big thing. Yeah, spend $1 to save a penny. True. And just to give you guys some context about the chief marketing officer I mentioned. I haven't mentioned him by name, but I will single him out as a big part of the reason why I left. Is his big push was something called what I call middleware. And I don't know if you guys have heard the companies or are familiar with the companies, but the companies are like Boomi or MuleSoft, and basically what they do, for those that don't know, is their entire shtick is to they advertise seamless connectivity. So they're basically a giant like connector. And here's the thing. There is a place for them. However, at my credit union, where we only had like 4 systems, there really wasn't much of the point of getting a giant middleware software because we could just connect them with custom APIs. Yes, Texan, I think you're right. I think you are correct. But yeah, so that was like this, the CMO's big push was, oh, let's invest in this middleware because it will, save us time and money and put all of our connections in one place and it'll make it seamless. Well, all his developers ended up opposing it. I was one of them. And then we all ended up leaving the company between that and other decisions we talked about, like, them ending remote work and, that sort of thing, right? So, they had a meeting in February. And in this meeting... they revealed to the entire staff that they are spending far more money than their competitors. And they're not getting better results. To which my response was, when my coworker texted me that was the announcement, I literally responded, gee, if only 3 developers had told them that's exactly what would happen. If only. And for those who might be curious, just while I'm talking about this, for those that might be curious about what the right time is to do something like that, to use like a software like Boomi or MuleSoft, it's when you have to connect tens of systems at minimum. It's when you have, like, I would say probably like 20 or more systems that you have to connect together. That's probably when you might be able to make the argument for 15. But it's basically when you have so many different systems and you all have to keep them in sync and keep track of each other. Anything else, though, it's kind of like, if you have less than that, it's like you're probably going to end up spending more money on the middleware software than you're saving in maintenance and development costs. But again, like Ridley said earlier, a lot of company leaders are all about. A lot of company leaders are spending, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, and like Stexon said earlier, spend $1 to save a penny. Alright, we have access to the racetrack, so we'll keep this going. Can't start without one more racer. Seen a few other people in the hang time community losing their jobs, say I, and just overall bad management at the top. Yep. Now I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Maybe I'll make a TikTok about it or something. But I'll just say this, that like the current crop of management as a whole, I'm not impressed with them. And you know, and again, I don't know them personally, so like I don't want to, you know, call them names or anything, but I definitely feel like their priorities are not, they're just not, it's not good sense. It's not good business sense. It's not good longevity. It's sacrifice everything for short-term gains so I can get my golden parachute and move on to the next grift, basically. That's kind of the summary of how I feel without going on like a long-winded rant or anything like that. Okay, there's nothing else up there. Wanted to check. And I think a lot of that is unfortunately reflected in, you know, what we see in leadership across the board, right? Other raids are too serious, I don't stand a chance. Alright. I'm just gonna go see what's up here real quick. Alright, looks like I do need that guy. But yeah, like, you know, here's one thing I will say about like my old credit union. I can tell you the problem isn't at the middle management level. It is 100% at the highest echelons who are overruling everybody. Because when I'm talking about like spending all that money on that middleware software, if you're just imagining, if you guys want to know how much money it costs to get just the basic package, not the full thing, right? I made at that job, I started off making $26 an hour, I think is what it was. And when I left, I was making like 34. Alright? So, $34 an hour. Actually, it was probably more than 34. It was probably like 35 or 36. So let's just say conservatively, because I don't remember exactly how much that is per year, but let's just say conservatively it was like 65 to 70,000 a year. Right? That software, for 1 year, costs over $100,000. Over $100,000 for that one piece of software per year. They could have gotten 2 to 3 junior developers, maybe 2 junior developers and an underpaid intern, who could have done the exact same work for the same price and more. And I wish I was exaggerating. And I think they ended up signing like a 5-year deal or something with this. So they invested $500,000 into this software for 4 systems that they were already paying for on top of that. And I wish I could tell you what the cost of those other softwares were, but I don't know that information. But it is it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money for that software. And we will take the multi-moon. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Fire alert. All right, but we did it. We'll move on here. And go on to the next one. Sam, so you like the bouncy boy, huh? Alright, now we go down to the beach. Beach. Let's get it away. Let's go. So yeah, it's a pretty wild time in the IT world because yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, we don't need to, spend money on these developers," and then they're going to invest in this technology and get pissed off when it doesn't work. And I know I've talked a lot about like the AI thing today, so I'll just leave it at this. This will be my final comment on it for now. Google can't even get their AI to work properly for their search engine. Like, they still have so many false... They have so many false results and just bad advice because they're drawing from, like, whatever their algorithm is in the search engine. That's where they're drawing their data. And it's like, hey, guess what? People on the internet don't always tell the fucking truth. And if Google can't fix it, with all their money, all their tier of engineers, their literal dominance of the search engine market, what makes you think some random non-tech company is going to be able to do what they can't and have a 100% success rate with the AI? It's not going to happen. It's unrealistic. Yep. No, yeah, silly. That's exactly what I just said. Is if Google can't get AI to work, and let's even be generous, and let's say if they can't even get it to work correctly, 30% of the time, then what makes anybody else? What makes anyone else think? And I really do mean this sincerely, but what makes anyone else think that they have a shot at, making this, at doing better than Google? You know what I mean? It's pure arrogance and it's pure foolishness. And that's, I think, what drives me nuts the most about that is... It's like, look, even if you could get it to work the way that you claim that you can't, the way that you think you can, where do you go from there? And I really do mean that sincerely. Like... Where do you go from there? What's next? Because that's the reality of business, is that there's always going to be new technology, new direction. But you gotta think more than just, you know, in the present. You gotta think about the future of the company. You gotta think about your customer base and how that new technology will affect them. And too many companies put no thought beyond the initial like idea. And you know, I wish, I really and truly wish it was different, but a lot of the people who have been put into positions of power, they're only concerned about making, you know, as much money as they can in as short a time as they can, and and not thinking at all about, you know, what comes next. Because it won't be their problem, you know? They will have taken their golden parachute and moved on to the next sucker that buys into whatever, you know, whatever they're selling. But we will see. We will see. The lighthouse seal. Seal. And there we go. Boop goes the weasel. 2 fountains left to go. Ouch, 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 ouch. I didn't realize we were playing Super Mario Sunshine here. Cleaning up all this paint, it looks like, huh? This lava paint. Oh, controller DC'd. Sorry about that. Yay, cleaned up all the paint for us. I'll have to remember that for next time. Alright, grab those. We'll go get that. And then we'll wrap up here in a minute. We'll try and knock this world out, and then we'll call it a day. Bonk! One more fountain. What's over here? Oh, a bunch of Goombas. Okay. That was disappointing. Hi, Tanner boy. How you doing, kiddo? You alright? Alright, gotta go fast, huh? Tanner, what's up, bud? Do you need to go outside? Alright, guys, I may have to pause here in a second. See what my dog wants. Looks like he just wants to spend some time with me. What a sweetheart. Good boy, Tanner. Oh, okay, I gotta be a Goomba. Got it. Ow! We'll probably do that later, because we're gonna need a lot more, we're gonna need a lot more, power stars from this world. Or power moons, I should say. You okay, Tanner boy? Good dog. Alright, here we go. The final one. And then we'll wrap up with some Paper Mario. Whee! Boop. Alright, now I think we gotta go defeat him. Man, if only he had a really clear weakness, huh? Guess I gotta get behind him, maybe? 'Cause I clearly gotta jump on his head. I mean, that's clearly what they want me to do. Like that. Miss! True. Ow. Okay. Well, that was fairly brutal. He did indeed blow his top. Alrighty. And there we go. We got a multi-moon. The glass is half full. Alright, so we are missing, I believe, 2 moons. If I did the math right. We need 2 more moons before we can go on to the next area. What a pretty sunset. It's so nice the fountains and the sparkle water are back. Doesn't seem like Bowser's in this kingdom anymore. Where should we head to next? Yep, so we do need 2 more moons. But that is where we're going to call it for today. So thank you guys very much for watching. Shorter video on this. I know a lot of conversation about like the job market and AI as of this time, so I do apologize for that, but hopefully you enjoyed those conversations. That's what we're here for. YouTube, thank you very, very much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. Hope you enjoy, and we will definitely continue with this. We'll add on to another video soon, but for now, thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. We'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye!